friends, Heidi here from Rain Country Homestead. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to be darning a sock, so I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm in here in my ex-dance room martial arts dojang. Normally I would be doing this in the living room sitting on the couch in there, but the lighting's so much better in here, so I wanted to do the video in here. Now my husband made me this sock darner, and at my request he put it on this long pole, which I could take it off if I ever want to, but I prefer it like this. You can have it loose, you can buy sock darners online, but obviously Mr. Rain's pretty talented, especially when it comes with woodworking, and he just made that for me. So I have a wool sock here. I just like to hold it like this. I like to have it resting on the floor and just set it straight up like that. So that was what I asked for. Now, what you want to do with your sock is you want to make sure it's turned inside out when you start this. And so you put that over your sock darner. Now you can see where the holes are. They're not huge, but I don't like holes, period, in my socks. Lately what I've been doing is when I have cheap socks like this, they get holes really quick, not like the Smart Wool. The Smart Wool lasts forever. But I just cut this part off and use the neck for making a quilt. And I'm still building up a bunch. I did make one quilt so far, and I'm building up a bunch to make some more. But anyway, I have some, I can't remember the name of this yarn, but I'll look it up if you want. It's actually a wool blend, and it's a sock weight yarn. But I'll look it up and I'll post a link to it below. I just got a couple of different colors that were just sort of random and would go with just about anything. I got a good fat needle here. And so I'm going to cut off a decent chunk, and I'll show you how I like thread my needles. Now you can buy a needle threader. I always just make my own by taking a good strong piece of thread and putting it in a loop that's long like this, and then just wrapping it around a chunk of duct tape or electrical tape, and then wrapping the tape around that so you can see where it's wrapped here, just to give it a good hold, and then wrapping some more duct tape around this way. So then you can see I've got, let's see if I can get that so you can see it, a loop, and I'm going to stick that, I forgot to grab my glasses, through the hole of the needle, open that loop up, and then take the end of my yarn, and put that into the loop. Kind of having a hard time doing this, trying to get it to where I can hold it so you can see it in the camera. And then I just pull it through. That's just the easiest way to do it when you have yarn. And I did really pull off way more than I needed, because you're better off to do a single layer rather than a double layer at a time, because of the way you're going to want to work this. So I probably should cut some of this off. I'm just going to leave it. Okay, so what you need to do is you're going to start from, I like to start out about, maybe a ½ inch or so from where the hole is. And it's usually, like you can see here and here, it's pretty thin anyway. So I'm going to work this whole area. So I'm going to actually start on this side. And all you're going to do is just do little short stitches like this. To me, this is just it's time consuming, but it's one of those things I like to do in the evening when we're just sitting watching YouTube videos or whatever together. And my dog is being annoying for no reason, I'm sure. Sometimes I think the dog just barks when he's alone in the other room and he's not sure where I'm at, though you think he would hear me talking. So then I can just turn this way, and then I just do the same thing back. And you just you want to get it as close together as you can. Just kind of weaving the needle in and out. And how perfect you get it is going to be up to you and how you want your sock to look. I personally don't care, because no one's going to see it. And you'll see how it looks when it's all done. It's just really no big deal. I've darned quite a few socks doing it this way. And this is a really long piece of yarn. You don't really need it that long. Okay, so you see I'm to where the hole is. Now, you're gonna want to be careful not to pull it too tight as you go through here. You're gonna want to keep that hole the right size. That's why you're using the sock darner, because that's representing your heel or toes, whatever part of the sock it is, in the sock. So if you pull that tight, you're gonna have these weird gathers that are gonna be uncomfortable, and you're also gonna make the sock smaller. So if you don't want your sock smaller, you really don't wanna be cinching that up tight. So you're just gonna keep weaving right across there, right across your hole. See how I just go through it like that? I don't pull it tight. This would go faster if I didn't have such a long piece. Oh well, I have plenty to work with. I'm sure I can go find another sock to darn. Spin it around, you see how that's looking? All right, so I'm done going this direction. Now, some of you may look at that and think that I didn't go close enough together this way. Well, I'll show you why I do it this way in a minute. So first, I'm going to go back across this way, and I'm going to be using about the same width of spacing on my stitches. So I'm starting from down here, and I'm just weaving it back and forth. Okay, so you see this end piece here? I'm going to go ahead and lay this across here, and I'm just going to weave it in as I go back. Actually, I'll lay it this way. You can see I'm going over, under, and over the yarns, the pieces of yarn that are right where the holes are, or the hole is, that particular hole. So you're really weaving that in there. It's not really that tight, I know, but just hang with me. It's just again, it's another one of those things. It's a matter of choice how you're going to want to do this. The way I do it is a little bit differently than the way other people will do it. Most people just go these two directions. Now as I come back to where this hole is, I'm going to make sure I try to reverse the weave. All right, you see that? Everywhere else I'm not as concerned about it as I am there, as whether or not I'm going over, under. Those, you know, each row of yarn. But where the hole is, or the holes are, is where I really want to pay close attention to that. Done going back the other way, and right now it doesn't look all that cool. Here's where my method gets a little even more different, is that I like to go back on the diagonal at least one way. And if I have enough yarn left, I'll go back on the diagonal the other way. In particular, I'm not as worried now about these outside areas because I've already gone over them. So I'll still, you know, and they're pretty good. So I'm just mostly going to try to work my way towards where that main hole is. Now this is why I don't mind getting that, not having it super tight, because I'm gonna go over this hole really well. And you can even shorten this up and just work the hole over rather than the outside, because the outside's pretty well covered. But mostly what I'm doing when I do the diagonal, this isn't a perfect diagonal, but I'm mostly focusing on those thinnest areas. I've got that covered that way. It's looking pretty good. I'm checking to see if there's any other thin spots I want to make sure I go over. And to be on the safe side, I'm going to go over just that section where that hole is. Again, on the diagonal the other way. So I'm just going to work this to here, because that's going to be my thinnest area. And basically, there's not much left I have to really do. I'm just doing this for good measure to get that good and thick right there, where it needs it most. And again, people, it's gonna be entirely up to you. I suggest you watch other sock darning videos. I watched several before I started doing it, and then I just kind of came up with my own really weird way to do it. I'm always kind of outside the norm when it comes to a lot of things. So I'm gonna say that's pretty good. It feels pretty good. So now you can take your end, and however you want to finish this off, it's gonna hold pretty good. So I'm just going to go into whatever piece of yarn that's here and go like that, make a little loop and pull it through. It's not really a knot, but it's just an extra little anchor down. And I'm checking to see if there's any other areas I might want to go over. And that feels pretty good. Okay, so don't let me forget, I just stuck that needle right there. I'll probably forget. Not like you can tell me unless you tell me in a comment, hey Heidi, remember to go back and get the needle out of your couch. I'm just going to cut these ends off a little bit. And those should hold. All right, so now, and that takes about 10-15 minutes to do. About 15 minutes, looking at my time there. Okay, so it's not the prettiest thing. It would have looked better if I would have used black, but you can see where that hole was, how nice and thick that is in there. And doing the weave method just back and forth like this and then this way is going to give you a nicer look to the finish of your sock. But I have this thing about liking to go as many different directions as possible, especially over the thinnest part of the sock. So look at your yarns, make sure you're getting a good cotton or wool, especially because wool's gonna hold up the best. And just a good way you can extend the life of your socks. So it may not be pretty, but at least it's functional. And you can be more creative and take more time and make it look really cool if that's important to you. It's just not important to me because nobody sees the bottom of my feet, so I don't care. As long as it's gonna hold and it's gonna be good and thick where that hole was, so it's gonna last me a while. That's all I care about. Okay, and I got my needle out of the couch, so now you don't have to remind me. I'm holding on to it. Anyway, that's it. That's how I darn a sock, my crazy, weird way of doing things as usual. Hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.